guys, I'm gonna be doing another opinion video today, and I'm gonna do one that I've been talking about doing for a little bit and never actually got around to doing it. And that's gonna be comparing the Real Techniques bold metal brushes, these ones here, to their standard lines and seeing, which is better here. All this is opinion, all this is just me kind of playing around and what I personally like for my own personal face. So I'm gonna start out with their foundation brushes. These two, this is the 101. I don't know exactly if these have names or not, but this is meant to be like a foundation brush, and I'm going to compare it to the Essentials foundation brush. So just looking at them, this one's obviously, this is a more luxe collection, looks fancier, it's a lot heavier. The idea with these ones are, because they're weighted, they're supposed to be easier to move and easier to, like it's supposed to do the work for you because it's supposed to guide your hand or something like that. I don't know, but this one's was really interesting in that it has this triangle. It's cut in this little triangle section thing here that I thought would be really good for like getting in here, getting around these here. It's a good brush for what it is. Like, if you like brushes like this for your foundation, I personally don't. My favorite foundation brush is actually the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush, which has some nice buffing action. You can see it's dirty, I used it today. So it's like this dome shape to it, and you can really buff things into the skin. This one is more of a like painted on type. So it's good in the sense that you have that that curve type there, but I didn't find, mostly what I use these brushes for, these kind of shape brushes for, is to do my under eye, to like blend that out. Because I did my whole foundation with this once, and it just left streaks all over everything, and it was just like, I don't want that. So I have been using it for underneath blending out the under eyes, and I actually found that this does get in there. It does get in there pretty well to get into those little spots there, and then shear it out, I guess, blend it out at the bottom here. But I do prefer this one to do that, and that's because it's a little bit smaller. It does give you a little less streak to it when you use it like that. I don't like either of these for doing my total face, because they both will leave streaks on my nose, on my chin, on my forehead as I'm like starting from the center out. So this one I think is about $20. I'll put the actual prices of both of these in here, but this one is like twice what this one costs. It feels a lot better. It's nicer to use in that it is heavier. This one is hollow, so it's not as heavy, but it is made really, really well. Real Techniques brushes, their regular line, they have a following, They work really well, and they're really good for the price. Most of them are less than $10. So if it comes to these two, I would go with this one over this one. There's not enough of a difference between the two to be worth paying the extra money just to feel more sophisticated to me. If that's what you're into, go ahead, good for you. It is a good brush, like it does do what it's supposed to do. So okay, so next I'm going to get into the blush brushes here, and I went with the Real Techniques standard blush brush rather than one of their smaller brushes, because these are both intended for blush. This is the 300 in the Bold Metals collection. I use these both to put my blush on today. I use this one. Hold on. So for my face today, I'd use the Wet n Wild Color Icon Blush and Glow Trio, and this is in the shade Sweet Junction. So that's what that looks like there. And so I use this to put the blush on here, and this picks up a lot of product. I forgot to film a demo of it. By the time my blush was on, my face was done. I was like, oh, I should have filmed that, so that's not today, unfortunately. But this does pick up a lot of product. I had dipped it into the blush today and put it on my cheeks, and then I ended up going back in with my e.l.f. tone corrector to kind of tone it down a little bit, because it ended up being like big clown face there. So it does, you do have to use a very fine hand with this. I've used it with a couple of other blushes that are not as pigmented, as heavy as this one is. I mean, this one is a pretty, you know, get it and go kind of blush there. So you do have to use a light hand with that one. I have liked this one for using it with less pigmented brushes that you have to like swirl around in to get it up. I like this one better for that one. It does have this, it's a little bit more tapered at the end here. It's tapered on both sides, but the sides is a little bit more flat. And I guess you can also use this one for highlight if you want to like just use the tip there, but I didn't do that today. Mostly I just use it to put blush on. And then I compared it to the big fluffy brush, their normal brush, which has this very long, it is domed in that that way there where it's like, so I do not use this. I've had this for a while. I really don't use this that often because it's hard to control. You don't get a lot of control with this one. You just kind of like, you know, dip it in and sweep it. This does not pick up that much product. This picks up a lot of product. This does not pick up a lot of product. So if you have something like what I actually like this one to use better today because of how pigmented the what I was using, or at least how much got picked up. I did like this one better because I just like dipped it and more or less done. Whereas this one was like, dip it, too much, take it off, take it off, take it off. So this one's better for more heavily pigmented stuff that picks up a lot of product with your normal brushes, but overall I do like this one better. I have reached for this one a lot more than I reached for this one. So price differences, again, this is like twice what this costs. I'll put prices down below, but this one might actually, you know, if it's just between these two, I would go for this one, but I do have an alternative. I do have an alternative that is actually less expensive than both of those, and this is the e.l.f. blush brush. So if you see it's got that, it's also dirty because I use this a lot, so I haven't been washed yet, so sorry about that, but it is angled at the top. It is so soft. This is my go-to holy grail blush brush. I just like, you know, dip it in, it picks up a decent amount of product, and on some more harder blushes where you have to like dig it in, you can swirl it around and then it just fits perfectly on the cheekbones here. This is like $3 to $5, so this is less than both of these. So if you're looking for cheap, I would go with this one, honestly. But between these two, I like this one more than I like this one. This one just does not have a lot of control to it. For some of the harder blushes, you're really gonna have to dig into them with this one, which is this one, you know, it's easier to use a lighter hand than it is to use a really heavy hand, I think anyway. So I would go with this one over between those two. So the ones that were most interesting to me were actually the contour brushes. I didn't get any of the eyeshadow brushes for the Bold Metals collection, so I don't have any of those, unfortunately, but this is the 301 brush, and this one was what I was most interested in because it is so dense and cut and blunt and just like so this one is meant for contouring, and I don't do a whole lot of contouring. Excuse me. I'll do like bronzing, and I like to use a flat top kabuki brush for bronzing. But when I do contouring, I thought that this one would be a nice one to use because you can get that nice hard line there. And then the one I chose to compare it to is the sculpting brush. And this one actually came out around the same time that this one did, so that's why I was interested in comparing these two. This one is a lot more dome shape. It's not quite as dense as this one is, but it's got that angled cut to it. There's more of a dome to it. So this one makes a nice lighter, less harsh line. I prefer this one to this one because I do not like that really harsh line. So for this one, like, I put the contour in, and this is that's the contour that I used today. And I put it in and just like, I mean, look at that line there. You can see that line there. This will give you a sharp contour shade, or a sharp contour line, if you're looking to like really carve out those cheekbones. Whereas this one will give you something a lot lighter. That is too dark. This will give you something a lot lighter, and it does pick up, both of these pick up a lot of products, so you have to be very loose with them, but it blends out a lot easier if you're looking for something to blend with. So I mean, that versus, even it out a little bit. So you got that there, which is nice and blended out. I'm gonna fix it off camera, but versus that, which is very, very sharp. So I'm actually going to take this one and blend this out. There. So again, this one is like twice what this costs. What you're gonna do, or which one you want to go with, is really going to depend on what you want to do. If you want that really sharp, chiseled jaw, you should be going with this one. If you want something a little bit softer, you should be going with this one. I prefer this one over this one, and because it blends so much more easily, and but you've still got that nice dense. They're both very soft. They both feel nice against the skin, so I would go with this one over this one. So let me know what your opinion is, what your experience has been with the Real Techniques brushes. If you like the bold metals more than the regular, or if you like the regular more than the bold metals, I'd like to hear why. Just leave a comment below and stick around if you want to see more from me. Alright, so that is it for today.